Welcome back to DCU Worlds. Hey guys, stop everything because we have big news from DC. Last week was the premiere of the second season of Peacemaker, and of course, James Gunn was there talking to reporters and sharing really important info, especially about the Superman sequel. But that's not all. He even mentioned the Superman Saga. Man, this opens up a huge range of speculations. What is he planning for Superman's future in the DCU? Well, we'll dive into that today and also discuss other interviews where they shared important insights. There's also a quote from James Gunn about Peacemaker's future in the DCU. Yep, Peacemaker isn't done with just this season. There's more to come. Plus, I wanted to chat about this fan-made DCU opening. Don't you think every DCU opening should be like this, customized for the character and project? Anyway, there's a lot to cover today, but before we start, I wanted to address my absence. As you know, I was nearly a month without posting videos here. Unfortunately, I had to pause the channel for a bit due to personal issues and partly because of time. Sometimes it's tough to create content for this platform when new things come out or a new project launches. But we're back now, and I hope to bring plenty of content from today on, so no serious issues to worry about. All right, let's dive into the news from James Gunn. Just to give you context, this interview happened on the red carpet before the Peacemaker premiere. Naturally, James Gunn, being the head of DC Studios, is the center of attention. Reporters asked him about the Superman sequel. He replied that the first draft of the script is ready. Most importantly, he said this Superman story he's crafting will be called The Superman Saga. Now, what does this Superman saga entail? Does it include the first Superman movie, Supergirl? Does she fall under this Superman saga? To me, this statement increases the chances of a crossover between Superman and Supergirl that we've been speculating about, especially if Supergirl is part of this Superman saga. Then the mystery will be solved. Someone needs to ask James Gunn if this Superman saga connects to the Supergirl movie, or if Supergirl is separate from what he wants to do with the saga. Let's assume, just for speculation, that the Supergirl movie is indeed part of the Superman saga. If so, I think we can safely say that James Gunn would explore the Kryptonian angle. Now, let's revisit Jor-El and Lara's message. James Gunn claims it's a real message. Look, even if the message is true, or if in the future he reveals it's false in some way, both angles can work in a saga. There are two possible paths. But honestly, even if this message is real, I still refuse to believe it. I feel like James Gunn is saying it's real to avoid spoiling Superman's story, but seriously, there are other possibilities. This Jor-El angle could be sidelined, and the Superman saga might focus more on Superman's relationships with people on Earth. For instance, one story path we speculated about after the Superman movie was him facing off against the Justice Gang. Since the Justice League actually ended up killing someone, doing something Superman is against, this could create a kind of rift among them. That's why at this moment, the big mystery is whether the Supergirl movie is part of Superman's saga. Matt Reeves also talks about it, right? The Batman epic crime saga. And this saga includes the Penguin. It's all part of one thing, a big story he wants to tell. That's why I think Supergirl could indeed belong to this Superman saga that James Gunn is hinting at. If you stop to think, this could work like those comic events that don't involve all comics, but just the core of one hero. Last year, there was the House of Brainiac. It was a Superman comic that involved the super families, and other DC comics didn't get involved with this House of Brainiac thing. Maybe James Gunn wants to do this kind of thing in the DCU, which is something different that Marvel never did. Marvel never managed to create these mini events in cores. I'd say the closest to a mini event in Marvel was the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. It got close to that idea, but it was a series, not like 2 or 3 people talking about something. Here, if James Gunn really wants to make this Superman saga and involve Supergirl, you're already placing Superman, Supergirl, and a sequel film for Superman. You already have 2 or 3 projects, right? Maybe even more in the future to tell the story he wants to share. And I know I'm speculating a lot. Maybe he just said it casually, but I get really excited about this kind of thing. Man, I think it's really cool for him to sell this as the Superman saga. I think it's awesome. Now, there was a theory from people online when that behind-the-scenes video came out last week, and people saw that image, that sketch of the movie, and in the image, you see Superman, Supergirl, Krypto, and down below, Brainiac. Then people started speculating that this might be a sketch for the Superman sequel that James Gunn is writing. And it's likely because they show this image very clearly, But I think it's still too early to have Brainiac as Superman's villain, but I won't dismiss that possibility. I think it could happen. Now, if James Gunn is thinking of making sagas in the DCU, I hope that when there's a whole Bat family, he takes the Bat family characters and adapts them just in that core, because characters like Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood can sell a lot. So creating things like this in that saga would be really cool because it's very different. It's something we experience in the day-to-day of comics. This happens all the time, but in the shared live-action universe, it's something we haven't seen yet. Thinking about it, this idea might be much healthier than forcing mega events like the Avengers or Crisis on Infinite Earths, because those mega events sometimes have so many characters that you can't focus on one character to develop arcs and tell a good story. There's another topic that's also really good. They asked James Gunn what will happen with Peacemaker after the second season, if he will stay on HBO Max in a series or if he might have some kind of movie. And look at James Gunn's response. I really know the answer to this question, but I don't have the freedom to say under penalty of a punishment from Saffron. Guys, when someone denies something that they could simply answer with a no, it's because they're looking for subterfuges, thinking, reflecting on what they have to say so that it's not too clear that the answer is yes. So for me, this answer from James Gunn makes it very clear that Peacemaker will indeed continue in the DCU after this season. He will appear in other things. I really think he could show up in a movie. Here on the channel, we've already speculated about the possibility of Peacemaker joining the Justice Gang, since the Justice Gang clearly showed in the end of Superman that they have no problem with killing. Why not bring in Peacemaker? We already have that cameo scene in the first episode where Peacemaker tries to join the team and gets rejected. What do you imagine in a character arc, in a script structure, could happen in the last episode? Peacemaker proving his worth to Maxwell Lord and joining the team. For sure, by the end of Peacemaker's season, we will know. Even the actress who plays Amelia Harcourt commented that this second season of Peacemaker will leave very important things for the future of the DCU. This could be one of them. And we were discussing here Superman facing the Justice Gang. Putting Peacemaker on the team is a way to hint that this will happen. His cameo in the first film, for sure, Superman doesn't like, and they wouldn't be friends. You can already see a clash between them and the potential for a story, especially because now, in terms of script at the end of Superman, there are reasons for Superman to conflict with the Justice Gang. And why not with Peacemaker, since they clearly have different ideals? This, of course, is my speculation, but it's another possible path for a story. But look, whether Peacemaker joins the Justice Gang or not, by the end of the season, it's undeniable he will appear again in the DCU. James Gunn won't give up on this character. He's a very popular character, sure, compared to the difference in popularity, but Peacemaker became popular like Deadpool did years ago. I'm not saying he's as popular as Deadpool, okay? But Deadpool, before the films, was a nobody, right? With all due respect to Deadpool. And the Peacemaker series did this for Peacemaker. Let's see if he can get another jump in popularity when he goes to films. But the Superman movie has already shown a bit of his popularity. For example, when I watched the Superman movie in theaters, I saw people recognizing Peacemaker there, and I doubt James Gunn will let that slide, especially since he's the one who revived this character, right? Before the Suicide Squad, nobody remembered Peacemaker. You can be sure he will refine, develop, and give even more importance to Peacemaker, and maybe his next step will really be to appear in a movie. Well, the next topic is Harley Quinn. Just like with Superman, they asked James Gunn about Harley Quinn, and James Gunn's answer was much broader. We'll talk about this in the future. So he didn't confirm that Margot Robbie will return or that they will choose another actress. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn might be the perfect casting for this character. The character became much more popular because of Margot Robbie, and I think Margot Robbie also became much more known because of Harley Quinn. And so Margot Robbie has already said she would be up to return as Harley Quinn. I think all this definition of Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn has a lot more to do with what they will do with Batman's universe, because if they want to do that, if they really want to return to a more classic Harley Quinn, then I don't see Margot Robbie coming back. But if they want to continue somewhat what Harley Quinn in the DCU left. That is the independent Harley who dissociated from the Joker. I think they would bring Margot Robbie back. Dude, I see a lot in the future them wanting to do something with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and then I see them wanting Margot Robbie, you know? But I might be speculating too much and none of this might happen. And well, the last thing I wanted to comment on in this video isn't news. It's this video made by a fan, some guy named Digimung, who made the DC Studios opening, but swapped Superman for Peacemaker. I'm bringing this up because I think this opening gains like a 10 in aura because just Superman there, for all the projects, feels so dull. I really think it seems bland, like something they didn't think through. What I mean is that it lacks personality. It needs some spice, something different for the opening to really shine, you know? For me, that was the spice. Each opening should change thematically depending on the movie or series. For example, in the Lantern series, you could have Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and Jon Stewart together doing something. And Peacemaker with that classic look, Batman's first appearance. This idea is so cool, it's so awesome that it connects with DC's own story because there was a time when both Marvel and DC put little seals under their logos with the main character of that comic. Marvel had some cool little faces, very iconic, and DC had the characters drawn completely. For me, that print they used is iconic. I can't think of why not do that. You know, you do this with everyone. You're respecting DC's own history. You're revering that history. You're giving more personality to this opening, and you're justifying their old visual too. If they really do this, I want it to reach James Gunn, so he sees how cool this idea is and starts doing it in the next projects. Because if he does this, it's better than Marvel's opening. There, I said it. The idea is really awesome. It makes the opening a 10 out of 10. The current one with just Superman is a 7 out of 10. When you include all the characters, respect the story, and create something unique, then it's awesome. But anyway, this is just my opinion. Please comment below. And don't forget to hit the like button, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.